Hello there, everyone. This is Forrest coming at you. Hope you're having a good day. It's time for your Just for Today encouraging word. From rude awakening to spiritual awakening. When a need arises for us to admit our powerlessness, we may first look for ways to exert power against it. After exhausting these, we begin sharing with others and find hope. So, when you first hit a hard patch in life, you might try to find excuses and try to get around it, or hey, this is regular. This is my old self. Well, lots of your old self needs to be gone out of the world, out of life. Here we go. We've sometimes heard it said in our meetings that rude awakenings lead to spiritual awakenings. Say it again. Rude awakenings lead to spiritual awakenings sometimes. What kind of rude awakenings do we have in recovery? Such an awakening might occur when some undesirable bit of behavior that we thought safely hidden away is suddenly revealed for all the world to see. Do you have an undesirable behavior that you know that you don't want anybody to see? I know I do. Be real, transparent here for a second. Whenever an authority figure asks me once to do something and make sure that it's done correctly, and I tell them that, and then they ask me again, there's a wound there from my past. I won't go into that, but when they ask me again, and then a third time, are you sure that's correct? I'm like, hello, I've already checked it. Didn't you hear me? And that just sets a little fire and a tweak, and then it turns into rage, or it could if I let it. So that's a rude awakening. God's just trying to point something to us. Remember, feelings are something that they point out what we need to look at. All feelings are not true, but all feelings are valid. God gave us feelings so we can see what's going on the inside. Such an awakening might occur when some undesirable bit of our behavior we thought safely hidden away is suddenly revealed for all the world to see. We look like idiots sometimes. I know I have. Our sponsor might provoke such an awakening by informing us that. When someone confronts you with something, hey, how do you know that? Or something they tell you might tweak you and irk you. Might be something you need to look at. Just like everyone else, we have to work the steps if we expect to stay clean and in recovery. Most of us hate to have our covers pulled. We don't like being laid naked in full view or thrown under the bus. The experience delivers a strong dose of humility. Our first reaction to such a disclosure is usually shock and anger. How dare you say that to me? That's not me. Maybe I'm better look at that. The way I try to do it is to take constructive criticism with a grain of salt and say, hey, I'll look at that. And you just look at all that they say, and if any of it applies to you, then you change it. If nothing applies to you, just let it drop. Such awakenings, our first reaction to such disclosure is shock and anger, yet we might recognize the truth when we hear it. What we are having is a rude awakening. Such awakenings often disclose barriers that block us from making spiritual progress in our recovery. Once those barriers are exposed, we can work the steps to begin removing them from our lives. See, God's got us in a path, and He's straightening us out and cleaning us out. And those are some barriers. When you start the first steps, it's going to say, hey, Lord, please remove this defect from me. You can't say, hey, God, remove all these defects from me, because you're going to have to replace those defects with the promise from God's word, so that His word is what heals the emptiness or the wound, or His word fills that area. That way you become stronger and you're able to help someone else through that area. Once those barriers are exposed, we can work the steps to begin removing them from our lives. We can begin experiencing the healing and serenity, peace, which are the preludes to a renewed awakening. Yep, sometimes when that irk happens, or that when they tweak you, piss you off, that's something to look at. And you just got to pray, Lord, help me to learn to love constructive criticism and not take it personally. Because when you take it personally, hey, they're just trying to show you something. And if they're trying to be mean, crude, and rude, then you know that after you look at what they said, hey, you know what? Whatever you said, that doesn't fit me. Where do you think that fits me at? And then you can hear their side and talk it out. And if they want to be strong-headed, then you know you don't need to invest anything in that relationship. You just leave it with God and let Him work it in you, them, just like He just worked something in you to where you can grow to the next step. Just for today, I will recognize the rude awakenings I have as opportunities to grow towards spiritual awakening. Every rude awakening is an opportunity to grow. And one thing in our transformation principles class that we talk about is we look at all of our failures as stepping stones. So if you just look at the failures in life, don't let them beat you up. Don't throw them and hit yourself in the head. Let all of your failures be used as stepping stones so you can step up and out of the muck and mire and onto good land. Step onto God's principles so He can lead you in the right way. And you can have peace, joy, fullness of happiness, and all kinds of stuff. So hope you have a good week. Talk to you later. Bless you. Bye.